to Wake Up Charlotte weekend. Monday marks the most frightening holiday of the year, but did you know Halloween originated in Ireland thousands of years ago? And while many of us are getting ready to go trick-or-treating, some are taking the flight across the pond to check out the festivals and haunted sites. Joining us now to talk about it is Travel Zoo's senior editor, Gabe Saglier. Gabe, thanks for joining us. He is at the Trim Castle in Ireland. Good morning.
Yeah, what do you think? Beautiful Trim Castle. If you saw the movie Braveheart, this looks familiar, but dates back to 1171 and a big tourist attraction, as you can imagine these days.
So awesome. Tell us how Halloween got started in Ireland.
Yeah, so I'm in Trim, about 45 minutes west of Dublin, and not far from a place called the Hill of Ward, which I've had a chance to visit. And this is where, 3,000 years ago, through archaeological digs, through carbon dating of remains found on this hill, they determined that the very first Halloween ceremonies took place. It was called Samhain back then. They were really pagan, sort of sacrificial ceremonies. But that's what gave birth to Halloween. They would do these ceremonies on what was then the end of the calendar year, October 31st, the day when the veil between this world and the next was at its thinnest, so the propensity of ghosts coming over to our world was obviously at its highest. And these traditions obviously have lasted thousands of years. They were brought by the Irish to the U.S. when they immigrated here, and now it's Halloween. But wouldn't you know, it started here 3,000 years ago.
So interesting. And talk to us about the growth of Halloween-inspired festivals in Ireland that are now drawing a lot of international travelers.
Yeah, so I'd say Ireland is one of those international destinations that's seen the biggest rebound in flights post-pandemic. 27 direct flights out of 16 different U.S. cities, including Charlotte. And it's drawing people here, obviously, year-round. And many of them coming specifically during this time of year, late October, to really take in some of these festivals that have popped up here in the last couple of years. This is the Puka Festival. It takes place here in the city of Trim. Launched in 2019. It took a pause during the pandemic, and it makes a grand post-COVID return this weekend into Monday. Made a lot of spectacle, lots of events, lots of performances, lots of parades, and an example of some of that very colorful activity that you're finding around Ireland as a way to embrace and sort of share the story of these Halloween roots here that the Irish have known for many years, but it's a story that I think a lot of us in the States are just now beginning to understand.
Yeah, and I know you've been there for about a week, so what spooky things have you seen?
Well, we specifically sought out some haunted destinations, some haunted manor houses and castles. This is one of my favorites. It's a place called Duckett's Grove in a place called County Carlow. This would have been built in the 1700s. It burned down in the 1930s. But this was cursed by the mother of a young lady who was the mistress to of the man who owned this place. She died in a horse riding accident. Has it that her curse led to a banshee living in that tower, the tallest tower on this property. And people say that at night you can hear the shrieks of this particular banshee breaking across the night air. I visited during the day. I didn't hear the shriek myself, but again, a lot of people visiting these kinds of historic, beautiful destinations and locations as a way to embrace the spine tingling, if you will.
Oh man, sounds spooky. So for our viewers that are thinking about booking a trip, when's the best time to visit Ireland?
Well, as you can imagine, some are very popular here. I like coming in what's known as the shoulder season. I like coming in spring. I like coming in fall, where the weather drops a little bit, but so do the crowds. Keep in mind that for the first time in a couple of decades now, we're seeing the U.S. dollar and the euro one-to-one parity, giving you a lot of spending power here when it comes to hotels, when it comes to a lot of your day-to-day expenses. So I'd say that if you're planning a trip, either later this year into 2023, you want to start looking at locking those flights down now. The advantage of being in Charlotte, of course, is you get that direct flight right out of Charlotte into Dublin, an easy 6-hour flight overnight.
All right, Gabe, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Halloween.
Hey, same to you. Thanks, Chloe.